The final banners before Fontaine have been revealed, and while a lot of people might be telling you to skip, save for Fontaine, the actual right answer for you and for your account might not be that simple. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. Taking a quick look, we have the Kokomi banner, the Wanderer banner, and the Weapon banner. I will preface this by, if you are a meta player and you're just looking for the very strongest characters possible, unless you're maxing out your Nilou team with Kokomi, you do not want to be wishing really at all on this banner. I do think Nilou is one of the strongest teams in the game, so if you are trying to absolutely max it out, you do want to get Kokomi. However, the most important thing for Nilou is not Kokomi, it's Nahida, and you can easily get by and run amazing teams without Kokomi for Nilou, but you can't say the same thing without Nahida. So it's not like she's a must-have for those really strong Nilou teams, but she is generally considered the ceiling for those teams. Similarly, if you're heavily investing in your Ayaka and you already have Mist Splitter and you already have Kazuha, Kokomi could be the next piece of the puzzle to make your Ayaka feel complete. So it's not as simple as just saying, oh, we're going to Fontaine, there's going to be a ton of Hydro characters. I made the mistake of skipping Kokomi because although she was the best in Nilou teams at the time for the Hydro slot, I figured surely they're going to release a different Hydro character that's going to be better, or different Dendro characters that work together to make Kokomi not the best option because she ran right before Nilou. And lo and behold, all of Sumeru went by and she's still the best option for Nilou teams. I would be very surprised if there was a direct power creep to Kokomi during the Hydro region, and I know we're going into the Hydro region. I know this might be a hot take, but I don't think we're just going to get a power creep to Kokomi. We might be getting completely different mechanics, right? That's what I anticipate. I anticipate Hydro characters and different characters that just function differently than the characters that we have now, with different mechanics, with new team synergies. I expect Kokomi to be part of the old guard and the new Fontaine characters to be part of a new guard. I don't expect the new characters to be outclassing old characters in those teams. Genshin Impact does not like to do direct power creep. They like to release units that are specific to their niche, and they remain the best in that niche. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes units are strictly better or worse than others, but it's very uncommon for that to happen. And I highly expect Kokomi to, in the teams that she's best in now, I expect her to stay the best in those teams. I don't expect there to be a better option for Ayaka teams. I don't expect there to be a better option for Nilou teams. If you're trying to max those teams out, then I wouldn't worry about it. If you are really interested in the Fontaine characters, then obviously, right, you want to skip and save for those characters. But if you are trying to max out these characters, or you just want to get these characters, just because new is coming, new is not necessarily always better. Obviously, case in point being, Singcho, Fischl, Bennett, these have been the top tier characters since the beginning of the game, and they are still top tier characters. Very, very few things have changed. Dendro was probably the biggest shakeup to the meta, but even still, a lot of old characters, even Kokomi, got buffed through those teams. Her best team is with Nilou, and she didn't even have that team before. So I wouldn't just assume that Kokomi is going to get power creep just because we're going into Fontaine. For Wanderer, it's much more simple. Because he has his own team, he's not really supporting other characters. You really only want to get him if you really want to get Wanderer. I also said this on my Wanderer video, but if you're a brand new player, I think playing through the game with Wanderer would be absolutely fantastically fun. Being able to fly, you're going to be able to trivialize a lot of puzzles, make a lot of exploration easier and a lot more fun. He's not reliant on his burst, so you can always get access to his good damage, and you can just stack him with whatever attack artifacts you find throughout the game. I just think he'd be a fantastic character to play through the game with as a new player. But other than that, I would more recommend him for just Wanderer fans, just people who really want to max out Wanderer because they like him. And as such, when you're looking at this banner, you may already have Wanderer, but you might not have C6 Farazan. In that case, you're going to have the choice of, do you want to go for C6 Farazan on this banner or C6 Farazan on this banner? If you're not running Ayaka, if you're not running Nilou, you probably want to go for risking getting Wanderer constellations. His constellations are decent, so if you happen to get them while going for Farazan, that's not a loss. if you do run Ayaka, if you do run Nilou, or if you do just want Kokomi, then you can get Faruzan Constellations on this banner instead. I will caution you, you don't need to wail, right? The Wanderer will rerun. Faruzan will rerun. You can always, you know, pick away at getting closer and closer to C6 Faruzan the further and further go. You don't have to get C6 Faruzan right now. You don't have to be pressured into doing that, although you do really want it to maximize your Wanderer. It is by far Wanderer's best asset is to have C6 Faruzan. The other main that might want to look at wishing on one of these two banners is Zhao mains. For that Faruzan. If you're a Zhao main, you really do want C6 Faruzan. It is a massive increase to Zhao's potential. And if you are at all interested in Kokomi, then maybe you want to consider this banner. You probably aren't that interested in Wanderer, so ideally you're interested in Kokomi, and you can go for Faruzan Constellations on Kokomi's banner. Kokomi's Constellations unfortunately not as good, so after that it's just going to be up to you. And it's really unfortunate that they didn't run Faruzan on Zhao's last banner. It's really mean, and I kind of hate that they're doing this. Looking at the other 4 stars, Yanfei is kind of on her own here. She doesn't really synergize either with Kokomi or Wanderer. She's going to be an on-field vape carry most of the time is the way you're going to play her. You can also use her as tank Fei, as using her as a shield. I don't really love it that much because you don't have 100% uptime. It takes a lot of ER to make it work. It does work decently well with Wanderer, but Toma works so much better. It's a real shame that Toma is not on this banner. We just had Toma, and it's a real shame that Rosaria wasn't on the previous banner. So Rosaria does have some synergy with Kokomi and does have some synergy with Wanderer, but you know, it's not like, at least Rosaria has synergy with Kokomi. If you're using like an Ayaka freeze team, then you want to use, you know, getting constellations on Rosaria. If you don't have Shenhe and you're using a, you know, Ayaka, Kokomi, Rosaria, Kazuha, that's a really good team. Getting constellations for Rosaria is good for that, but we just had Eula, right? And Rosaria should have been on the Eula banner because Eula wants C6 Rosaria and Wanderer wants C6 Toma. So it's just really mean of them to not put the synergistic 4 stars on the banners that make sense for them. So yeah, I'm kind of salty about that. Moving on over to the weapon banner. This weapon banner is big yikes. Obviously his best in slot weapon, the bell, is here, and then obviously we also have the bell over here. So, you know, double bell, pog. Not really. Kokomi's weapon is not good. It's one of the lower value weapons because oftentimes, and even in Kokomi's best teams, unless you're using her as an on-fielder in her taser teams, you're going to prefer to use Thrilling Tales for Ayaka or Sack Frags for Kokomi. Even you might use her on Sack Frags in Ayaka teams sometimes to get better positions. I still think Thrilling Tales is going to be the best option, but yeah, Everlasting Moongo, like it's good when you're using her on field in like a taser team, but just because it's not always her best in slot option, it kind of hurts to go for a 5-star weapon that isn't even always the best in slot option for your character, and it doesn't really work on any other catalyst. I think it can work on Baiju, but that's about it. And then Wanderer's best weapon, obviously it's very good on him. It is his best weapon, but other 5-star weapons are not that far behind. When you're using a shielder, Memory of Dust is really close as well, and even the standard banner 5-star catalysts are only 10% behind, so it's really close. The weapon does get more value as you get more constellations, so if you're like a dolphin or a whale, then the weapon has more value, but this is a really rough banner for free-to-plays. Like, I'm looking at the 4 stars, like the bell is completely useless. Wine and Song, the book, is completely useless. Dragon's Bane is like pretty good on Hu Tao, and it's good on, you know, Burgeon Toma or Hyperbloom Raiden, but you only need 1 copy for Burgeon Toma and Hyperbloom Raiden, so getting refinements on it, not very useful. Lion's Roar is Keqing's best 4-star weapon, but like, if you're going for Kokomi and Wanderer, like, Keqing doesn't have any synergy with either of those characters. And then Favonius Bow you literally get for free. It is a good bow, like getting refinements on it for your Yelan and for, well, I mean, at least it has synergy with Faruzan, right? That's Faruzan's best in slot. So, okay, there's 1 4-star weapon that actually has synergy with the banner. So when I look at this banner, I see pain. I only see pain. I see pain for you. I see pain for your kids, for watching you summon on this banner. Even if you don't have kids yet, they're in the future crying. When you have kids, they will cry. They will coming out of the womb because you wished on this weapon banner. It's very, very sad. I would highly recommend just getting one copy of Kokomi. Her constellations are not good, her weapon's not good. Just get Kokomi and save the rest. And for Wanderer, just get Farazan copies. If you've got extra wishes to spend, get Farazan copies. The last thing I want to make sure we talk about is upcoming characters. Now, we know that we're having Liney, Lynette, and Freminette coming over here. You can see I've got them right here. And they're coming in the very next patch. So if you're interested in these characters, you really want to be saving. You don't need Kokomi for any of her teams. You don't need Wanderer unless you really, really want Wanderer. So if you're interested in these characters, then consider saving. We're also having a new region. So we've got, you know, characters. We've got characters like look at all the released new characters that we have coming, right? And lots of people are really, really excited. Maybe you're excited for Clorinde. Maybe you're excited for a bunch of other characters. Maybe you're excited for presumably the Archon. I'm really, really excited for her. We don't know when they're going to be coming. They're going to be coming pretty soon. If you're free to play, you've got limited resources. And of course, it's been a while since Yelana's had a rerun. She's a really, really strong Hydro character. Who knows if she's going to be getting a rerun soon. You know, there's more characters, right? Just look at all the Genshin Impact characters that are coming. So even if you are excited for these characters, just make sure that they're the characters you really, really want, and that you're considering, you know, all the other potential options that are coming up soon, and make sure you're wishing wisely. The channel is going through some really big changes. We're going to be streaming almost every day. We're going to have videos almost every day. If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing. We have a Patreon as well. We're starting a Discord any day now. We're going to be having some Genshin Impact merch very soon. If you want to do any of those things and you want to support the channel, then by all means, all the links are there. But you're supporting the channel a lot just by watching the video, so thank you very much. I made an amazing Kokomi guide that is going to be right there, and a Wanderer guide. I think it's not released yet, but it's going to be coming very, very soon, probably tomorrow. Take care, and bye for now.